Still my favorite to this day. But as is normal, James, if you would please, this evening's Chronicle, sir.
This may actually work a little bit for me considering how much I pigged out in the last 2 days, but I didn't have to do laundry this weekend because I was home working. So if ever there was a silver lining,
There was a point in my life when Febreze was my best friend. That's all my. And it's going to be one that pulls at the heartstrings. James, your first name in tonight's Wisey Translator is the newly retired Clayton Kershaw.
the best of our generation, without a doubt, they don't win a couple of World Series, in the last decade, really here without him. They don't have nearly that run of success. Um, we're thinking that Tarek Skubal and uh, and Freddie Peralta and Sanchez in Philadelphia and Paul Skeens. We're hopeful that these guys can kind of be the next decade's version of what Clayton Kershaw was. Great to actually see him kind of get the start over the weekend here against Seattle and right off into the sunset and everything. You know, it's a shame that he's not going to be part of the postseason rosters for the Dodgers and everything. Although I really don't think that they need him, even though he's been, still very good. But when the fact that your postseason rosters do not expand, they actually kind of contract a couple of players from the end of the regular season. It's the move that has to be done, but it's something that we've actually seen with guys retiring. That make that last run to the playoff where their team makes the last run to the playoffs, and unfortunately, there's just not a spot open.
Yeah, I think you'll see him for the LDS. I think he was left off mostly because he pitched. Was it last night?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he was mostly left off because he's not going to pitch in the series with the way they've been helping him. He'll be in there for the LDS. May even start, depending on how quickly they dispatch the Reds. May even start a game one, depending on where it lands. In
Mike, your first name in the YZ translator tonight, he's still having a very good year, but we actually don't think about that just because of how underperforming he's been the last few weeks, especially when we're looking at Brand's fantasy bus. We talked about him a few minutes ago, and I'd like to get your take on him on the whole, especially after the disappointment of this weekend. That's going to be Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry's performance is an indictment of Lamar Jackson. To this day, no one fears his arm. The Browns had 9 in the box a lot. It seemed like when they played them and got killed by him, but he did nothing. Uh, this is an exact. This is a basically Lamar has played like shit to start the year, so they can take away Derrick Henry. Um, he's not slowing down. We we saw week one against the Bills. He was phenomenal.
169 yards and 2 touchdowns, but ever since 23 yards against the Browns, no touchdowns, 50 yards against the Lions, and 1 touchdown, 42 yards and really nothing today, even though he had 5.3 yards a carry. He's currently ranked his 284 yards running are fifth in the NFL right now. His 3 touchdowns are tied for third. But again, we're only through 4 weeks, and the Ravens are 1-3.
James, your second and final name tonight in the Wisey Translator. We are going to go to the world of hockey, and your name tonight was the first star in his final game last night. Pittsburgh Penguins goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yes, it was confirmed that that was his last game because fans are chanting uh, in the arena, "1 more year," and Fleury promptly shut those down and says, "I don't have another year left in me. My hip hurts." Um, and if that was indeed a practical joke and a troll, you're gonna see some teams making some calls to him, and I would like to see that he kind of takes the high road and just politely turns them away and doesn't try to hang around, like a James Reimer who just re-signed for a second go in Toronto for 1 year and really has not been nearly what he has been. Fleury with that big fanfare and that farewell tour last year with Minnesota, it's just time. You have the one game, you sell out with Pittsburgh, you have a lot of the first line guys like your Crosbys and your Malkins there, last night, tuning up for the regular season, which starts, not next week, but actually now since we're on Sunday, the regular season will start next week. Um, he'll definitely be in the arena, but he'll be in the seats as they'll do some sort of retirement ceremony, and then they'll probably retire his jersey. I don't want to say maybe this year, but maybe sometime next year. Um, Still the greatest prankster in professional hockey that I've ever seen, and a first ballot Hall of Famer, no question. And what a great way to go out last night. And I do actually like the shade that the one Columbus player said that he was able to score the goal, even though the kid's not going to make the 20-man roster for opening night for Columbus. He'll probably end up getting sent down to Cleveland. Um, and said that I'm glad that I just broke up the shutout.
What do you got?
Michael, I'm going to wrap this up. I kind of wish Alex was still here and I could have given him this name, but as a baseball fan, you'd recognize this name as well. And he also announced, while we're talking about guys walking away, he announced today that he's walking away after 12 Major League Baseball seasons. Naturally, the last couple have not kind of gone the way that he's wanted to, but still actually put up very respectable numbers over the years, and that would be Chicago White Sox outfielder Michael Taylor.
I remember when he came up with the Nationals, and he was a problem. Very good defender, adequate with the bat, but he stuck around for his glove. He was a Gold Glove caliber center fielder for many, many years. I believe he was a center fielder on that championship team with the Nationals too.
Yes, he was.
So, you know, the defensive specialist has gone away in the last few years. He's one of the last ones that they had uh, that were defensive specialists that weren't infielders. You don't see too many defensive specialists in the outfield anymore. You see the guy who can go get it is in center, and you put your two big bats in right and left. But it great career, good player, won a ring. I mean, how much more you can ask for?